What's going on, everybody? Jolt here from the Token Minorities, and I'm here with Week 1 of Season 6 of the National Pokeball League. And let me tell you, I am really excited, and I hope you guys are as well. Go ahead and smash that like button down below if you are as excited as I am, as this season is looking to be really fun. There's so many solid players in the league. I think it's even a step up from last season, and last season was pretty insane as well. But, you know, this season we have people like Pokeaim MD, we have Gator, we have Mr. Murkrow, the champion of the GPC, joining the NPL. We also have Anthony Zazo, or Iron Flash Gaming, the champion of the CPC, joining the NPL this season, as well as my good friend Carnie Hobo, who happens to be my opponent this week. So this season's going to be really fun, and I hope you guys are looking forward to it like I am. But let's go ahead and just dive on into this, as, like I already mentioned, my matchup this week is against Carnie Hobo and his Vancouver Stealth Rocks. Now, he is a new coach to the NPL, but that said, he did have a very solid performance in the NPL Minors last season, as well as being a very helpful fill-in coach for us at various times throughout last season. So he's already had his share of experience in the majors, so it's not like he doesn't know what to expect, but I'm going to try to take advantage a little bit of his quote-unquote inexperience in the majors through my preparation, as I think I really can't out-prep him just based upon the fact that he hasn't had as much experience against this level of competition yet. That said, he definitely can get there, so I'm not dogging him whatsoever, but that's just kind of my initial thought here with this game. But let's go ahead and look at what his team has to offer. Actually, first of all, just in case you happen to miss my draft analysis video, I do recommend you go check that out so that you know what is on my draft and why I have what I have. But just to reiterate very briefly, my draft this season has Mega Lopunny. Now, I know Mega Lopunny is not actually available in Sun and Moon, but we are playing our games on a custom server where we are actually able to use old Mega Evolutions, so that's a pretty cool little quirk with the NPL this season. But we have Mega Lopunny on our team, as well as Latias, which is Z-move eligible, Azumarill, Nidoking, Metagross, which is also Z-move eligible, Whimsicott, Mandibuzz, Electros, Doublade, Gastrodon, and Talonflame, which is also Z-move eligible. Now, all of those Z-move eligible Pokemon can only use offensive Z-moves. All support Z-moves are banned. So I guess unfortunately, no, fortunately, in that case, we don't have to worry about my opponent bringing some really stupid Z-moves on some of his Pokemon. I don't think any of mine really have crazy support Z-moves outside of Azumarill. With Z-Belly Drum would be, you know, pretty cool for sure, but we're not going to be able to use that this season, but I'm willing to make that trade for not having to deal with some of the other broken stuff that might show up with the support Z-moves being allowed. So with that said, let's go ahead and look at my opponent's team. So he has Tapu Bulu, which is going to be a fun one to prep for the first time in my life. Victini, which is Z eligible. Nihilego, which is also Z eligible, so another Ultra Beast that's going to be a challenge to prep for sure. He has Starmie, Hydreigon, which is Z eligible, and then Diggersby, Mega Aggron, Conkeldurr, Melodic, and then 3 Pokemon that I don't even want to mention, but they're on his team, so I have to. He has a Plusle, he has a Cradily, and he has a Pidgeot. So the Carnie tier is really living up to its name with this man's draft, as it was named after him, and he did decide to pick up the most Carnie tier Pokemon of anyone in the entire league, so props to him for that, honestly, kudos. But he's got a pretty fun roster here. And it's pretty scary too, because he has so many wall breakers. And if you know me, if you've been following me for the past few seasons, you would know that my teams are generally more bulky. I don't really enjoy dealing with wall breakers because they break my teams. So that's, you know, kind of an issue for sure. But the good news is this season, my team is much more offensive than it has been in the past. I do have the likes of a lot of priority from Mega Lopunny, Azumarill, even Nidoking, Metagross, and even more so with Talonflame and Latias to an extent. It gets Sucker Punch. I have a lot of priority, so I can deal with fast wall breakers, which he happens to have a lot of. He has a lot of things that can run Choice Scarf really well, and all the priority options on my team definitely assist me in dealing with those. But just in general, I'm not reliant on a fat core to win my games. And I think that's really going to be helpful in this matchup. If this was the matchup I had with my team last season, I would be done for, because I had so much fat stuff, and his team would just be able to plow right through it. But that's, you know, why I drafted how I did this season. I realized that fat stuff is not necessarily going to win whenever there's so many powerful wall breakers in Generation 7. So that works out pretty well here in Week 1, and I guess we can go ahead and talk about the matchup specifically. So Tapu Bulu is kind of an interesting devil here, as defensively, with its Grass Fairy typing, it's not an amazing defensive typing against my team, and that's because I am capable of bringing an entire team of 6 that can beat it. And obviously I'm going to do that because I'm not going to let that thing beat me. It's his #1 overall pick. I highly, highly expect him to bring it. I'm going to make sure it's not going to do anything. So that's one of the largest principles that I'm building my team around here in this week. But the most threatening Tapu Bulu set is not its offensive set, despite how powerful its offensive stats are. Or physically offensive stats specifically, it's the defensive set, as his entire team is very weak to Mega Lopunny. So the best ways he has to beat it are max defense Melodic, and he has to hope I'm not Adamant High Jump Kick, or Tapu Bulu, which can, if defensive, always deal with Mega Lopunny. So I'm fully expecting Tapu Bulu to come with a defensive set, probably with leftovers as well. I don't think he can afford to run a Kevia Berry for my poison typing, because I really think he needs the leftovers to be able to deal with a Mega Lopunny, and really even to deal with things like my Azumarill and my Latias as well. So I do think leftovers defensive Tapu Bulu is coming, and I think he'll build around that most likely with a Mega Aggron, as with the grassy terrain supplied by Tapu Bulu, Mega Aggron doesn't take nearly as much damage from Earth Power from my Nidoking, which otherwise is a huge threat to his team. So I really expect to see that core for his defensive core, and then some really powerful offensive breakers around it, probably things like Victini, Hydreigon, Diggersby, Nihilego maybe. I do have Metagross, which is quite honestly a counter to all Nihilego sets, so I don't know if I really expect to see that, but Starmie could definitely come, as well as potentially something like the Conkeldurr with a Melodic. I don't expect to see Plusle, Cradelier, Pidgeot. I really don't, but it's Carnie. Who knows what he's going to do? We'll just kind of see on that. But yeah, his team has a lot of viable options against me, and that's what I found through my practice battles for this matchup, and that makes my prep a little bit more difficult, because I really don't have any surefire... I shouldn't say this, but I was going to say I don't really have any surefire strategies to beat him. I think I do now, and I'll talk about that strategy here soon when I show my team builder, but it was very difficult to come up with a strategy that was effective against any combination of mons he could bring, because he can go hardcore, hyper offense against me, and if I bring a team that's too passive, I'm going to get destroyed by it. And he can go with a really bulky team, and if I bring a team that's too focused on priority and beating offense, that's not going to do very well either. So it's definitely a tough situation that I'm in with this preparation. I don't think it's my worst matchup, but it's a very hard matchup based upon that fact. But that said, I do think I've come up with a pretty darn good team for this, and I'm going to go ahead and hop on over to that now. So starting things off with Catalyst, the Mega Lopunny. Now, one thing that you will notice, if you have been around since Season 4, when I did have a very strong season in the NPL, getting to the championship game and losing to, you know, a little bit of RNG, not salty at all, I did have Pokemon with nicknames that represented my chemical engineering field, which that is what I do. I'm a chemical engineer. And I'm going to return to those kinds of nicknames this season, because that seemed to give me a lot of success. I'm going to try to, you know, bounce back to that and see if we can repeat what we did in Season 4 and finish the job this time. So, starting off with Catalyst, the Mega Lopunny. This set is very straightforward, but it's also really effective against this team, as this is adamant, it's as strong as the Mega Lopunny can get, and it has dual priority. So if he does happen to bring 2 or 3 Scarfers, like Victini, Diggersby, Hydreigon, those can all be Choice Scarf. If he brings a lot of Choice Scarfers, this Mon is going to be incredible against him, because Adamant Fake Out does like 30% minimum to those kinds of things, unless they have a lot of bulk investment as well. Quick Attack is essentially a doubled up Fake Out, so I get to go Fake Out plus Quick Attack and do over half to anything, and if I'm able to wear him down with the likes of Stealth Rocks or just other chip damage from the Momentum Mons on my team, then this thing can just sweep and get a ton of kills. So this thing is just really, really good, and then the combination of Return and High Jump Kick hits his entire team very hard. The only thing that deals with it well is Tapu Bulu, as I mentioned before, so that's why I really expect him to bring defensive Tapu Bulu. If he doesn't, then this thing becomes an enormous win condition immediately, but if he does bring it, I'll need to wear down the Tapu Bulu with the rest of my team, which is designed to do that, and that's why it's designed how it is, so I'll kind of talk more about that as we get there. But this is, gotta think back on the EV spread on this. I believe I am outspeeding... Oh, trying to remember what I'm outspeeding. I believe I am outspeeding Timid Starmie with this set. Yeah, Mega Lopunny is obviously a higher speed tier than regular Lopunny. I think this is outspeeding a timid max speed Starmie, so it might be something a little faster than that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is, and that's why I was able to afford to run Adamant this week. And then the rest just an HP to take his priority hits better, as the only way he's going to be able to beat me, or to beat this, is by killing it with priority from something like Conkeldurr or Diggersby, or by killing me with a Scarfer, and I'll have plenty of ways to deal with that. So yeah, this set's pretty standard, nothing too flashy here, but it is what the team is built around, and it definitely can put in a lot of work this week. So next up is the Duke's Revenge Nidoking, and this set just destroys him, quite honestly. This thing just flat out dismantles him, as unless he has grassy terrain up to help the Mega Aggron wall this beats everything. It beats his entire team, and I have enough special defense investment to make sure that a max attack non-boosted Starmie Scald does not OHKO me either. So I can get a kill on the Starmie with this, as well as, considering Melodic is his most likely switch into this, I feel like that's what he's going to try to do, especially if he doesn't bring Tapu Bulu, but even if he does, I think Melodic is his initial switch in, and I made that comment about Tapu Bulu because if he has grassy terrain up, Mega Aggron is a counter to this, but I do think Melodic is his first switch into this, which means if I can hit him with a combination of a Poison Jab plus a Thunder Punch, no variant of Melodic survives unless he has Resist Berry. So this definitely can take on the Melodic as well as put a lot of offensive pressure on his team, and that's something that really will be beneficial for my Lopunny, as I do believe that the combination of Mega Lopunny and this primarily physically offensive Nidoking set will be able to do a lot of damage to him, and really just these two mons should be able to carry me offensively throughout this game. So that's what I have there. This, man, I should have looked at my speed tiers again before I did this recording, but this Pokemon is outpacing, I believe, a max speed Diggersby, if not a max speed Tapu Bulu. That's what it is. This is outpacing a max speed Tapu Bulu. Then, of course, the rest in special defense and I have 16 special defense to make sure I survive the Skull from Starmie, and then the rest in attack to do damage with that. So that's the Nidoking set, pretty solid this week. And then we have the Mandibuzz. This is quite honestly the most important Pokemon this week, and that's because its job is to deny rocks, to get rid of stealth rocks, and then to generally wear him down with Rocky Helmet, as I fully expect, if he brings Hydreigon, for it to be a Choice Scarf variant, because really all other Hydreigon sets aren't that great against me unless he runs a Z move, which is possible, but I feel Choice Scarf Hydreigon is the most likely set versus me, and this will deal with that very well. That said, I do need to keep Stealth Rocks off the field to make sure this thing is healthy enough to also switch into Diggersby, which is what this investment allows me to do with Impish 52 EVs in defense. As long as rocks are not on the field, I always switch into Scarf Diggersby with no trouble whatsoever. The only exception is if he locks himself into Wild Charge, in which case I have things that I can switch in and punish him for doing so. So I think this is really good overall against him defensively, just in general as a good utility. Taunt is nice against a lot of his team, especially against the Mega Aggron, as I do anticipate this to be on the field against Mega Aggron early in the game, and I should be able to taunt him there. Unfortunately, wasn't able to fit U-turn on this like I really wanted to, but the rest of these moves are just way too important, and only one attacking move as well, as Foul Play made a lot of sense in this matchup, but with the general purpose of my team being to weaken Tapu Bulu, I decided to go for Brave Bird instead, and that also lets me do more damage to Conkeldurr, which otherwise is a little bit annoying for my team to wear down, as nothing can OHKO it on my team, so I need to be able to wear it down, and this definitely helps with that, as the combination of Brave Bird and Rocky Helmet will definitely wear down the Conkeldurr for me. So Rocky Helmet is there for the Diggersby, as well as to hit a U-turning Hydreigon, as I just need to chip it down into range of my priority. That's generally the concept of this team, is to chip into range of Nidoking and Lopunny, and go from there. So next up is the Latias named Drag. So this set is pretty cheeky. This is a Subtoxic, kind of a stally set. Yeah, I know I'm being that guy, but I need Toxic to be able to wear down the Tapu Bulu, and very few things on my team can surprise the Tapu Bulu with super effective coverage. So the best way for me to wear it down and to prevent it from getting all this ridiculous recovery back from leftovers and grassy terrain is to status it with Toxic. And I feel that if I were to reveal that my only attacking move on this is Draco Meteor, or that I'm willing to spam Draco Meteor, he is more likely to switch into his Tapu Bulu. Also seeing that I'm more defensive. I have to be more defensive to take hits from Victini. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. But this will allow me to hopefully lure in the Tapu Bulu, get off a Toxic, and then I should be able to beat it with essentially my entire team, as even then, once it's Toxic, Mega Lopunny he can beat it, and there's no question there. Unless he is Superpower, he cannot Oko me. I guess Woodhammer would kill me. But unless he is Superpower or Woodhammer, he cannot kill me. I'm not expecting him to have either of them, so I should be able to stay in once against it, and if it's Toxic, I will 2-hit KO it. And this thing just helps me out a ton. This also helps me against a Melodic, which otherwise is a little bit frustrating for my team to take down, especially if Nidoking is not able to lure it in. So this set will be able to sub Toxic, just stall the heck out of that thing, and there's nothing it can do about it, as he'll probably, once he sees sub, expect me to be a setup set with Calm Mind, and in which case if he has something like Haze, he'd probably go for it, and that's just going to be a free turn of Toxic, and I can just stall him down, and that's why this set's really effective. I also like Leftovers on this a lot due to the nerf of burns, as if it is a Scald Melodic and he tries to get a Scald burn on the switch, he can burn me, I really don't care, it's not going to impact me as much as it would have in previous generations. So yeah, it's pretty nice that I'm able to use the defensive Latias with Leftovers really effectively, I think, in this matchup. So yeah, this definitely could be an MVP of this game, and we'll just kind of see how that goes. Now, I believe this is outpacing a modest Nihilego, I believe. Yep, I think so. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure it's Modest Nihilego that I'm speed creeping here. And then max HP to take hits from both, especially offensive and physically offensive Victini with relative ease. I don't appreciate a banded U-turn, but if he is banded, then I should be able to deal with him with my other mons pretty decently as well. Still a threat, though, most certainly, but I do think I can lure him in and beat him. I can wear him down with a combination of Rocks and Priority, and that's all I really need to do to win with Lopunny anyways, or the Nidoking for that matter. So, yeah, overall, pretty good set here against him. And then we have the Metagross. Now, this is obviously my dedicated switch into Nihilego, but this is also a mon that is designed to take advantage of his grassy terrain and switch into the Tapu Bulu whenever I want, and also has Stealth Rocks, which are pretty useful in this game, as I've already mentioned many times. So, overall, this is really nice against him. The combination of Meteor Mash and Bullet Punch, very solid stab for Metagross. Bullet Punch, obvious reasons, priority to wear him down his range of my other stuff, and then Meteor Mash, again for obvious reasons, to blow a hole in the Tapu Bulu, and that's exactly what this thing is designed to do. And then Thunder Punch just for general coverage for the likely switch-ins of things like Victini, obviously not super effective, but still not bad to hit it with, to get it in range of stuff, and then also for the Starmie and the Melodic. So yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory set here. I do have enough speed investment on this to make sure that I outspeed a -1 Adamant Victini, because if he is a Choice Bandit set, then I really need to get damage on it. And Metagross might have to bite the bullet to get some damage on it. I guess no pun intended with Bullet Punch. But anyways, just getting some damage on Victini is pretty important, so I felt that the speed investment was worthwhile, and if he happens to be an uninvested defensive mon, I might be able to creep that as well with this set. So that is the Metagross, and then finally we have the Electros. Now this is obviously a pivot. It's what Electros does. It does that for everybody. Nothing really special there. But that said, I needed to switch into Mega Aggron, as even without any investment, Mega Aggron is surprisingly powerful. I can't really switch into it very well. I guess I have a lot of stuff that's pretty light, so Heavy Slam does a lot of damage, but what I found is I really need something to switch into Mega Aggron, at least until I get it worn down into range of my Mega Lopunny and my Nidoking. So that's most of Electros' job, but I do have enough physical defense investment to deal with his other physically offensive threats as well, like Banded Diggersby, Banded Victini, all these things I can take a hit from, and that's pretty important for sure, as that again will allow me to chip him down into range of my offensive threats, and that's exactly what this is designed to do. Now, knock off for general annoyance, to knock off his items, most notably his choice items, choice scarves I would like to get rid of to make Lopunny's job a lot easier. Drain Punch is really good when he has the common switch in of Diggersby to this, as Diggersby might be his response to Volt Switch, and if I can hit that with the Drain Punch, that's fantastic, again, to put it in range of stuff. And Hydreigon, similar story, put it in range with Drain Punch. And then Volt Switch for momentum, Flamethrower specifically for the Mega Aggron, but it's also nice to do damage to the Bulu to get it in range of stuff. So you see the point of this team. It's very self-explanatory now that I've gone through it this many times, but I think it's pretty effective overall. And, you know, I guess we'll just go ahead and jump on into this. So be right back with the battle. Okay, and here we are with the match. And as you can see, my opponent brought Nihilego, Melodic, Hydreigon, Mega Aggron, Conkeldurr, and Diggersby. Now, before I jump into this, I don't think I said it before, check out my man Carnie's channel. It will be in the description below. Give him a look. He's a really cool guy, and I think you will enjoy his content. But let's go ahead and talk about what he actually brought here. So, he did not bring the Bulu, and he did not bring the Victini, which those were two of the most likely mons I thought were going to come, so not seeing either of them is pretty odd, and not seeing Starmie either is kind of surprising, because now if I get Stealth Rocks up, they're there to stay, and I have no issue having Rocks up on my side of the field as long as I have Rocks on his side of the field as well. So not seeing Starmie, not sure if I agree with that one. Not seeing Victini or Tapu Bulu is a little bit strange, and I guess we'll kind of see what his strategy is. I imagine he didn't want to bring Bulu because it wears down, or it reduces the power of Diggersby's Earthquakes, which is something I actually didn't mention in my team builder. The Metagross is also designed to deal pretty well with Diggersby under grassy terrain, as I don't take very much from Earthquake, and I do a lot of damage with the combination of Meteor Mashing and Bullet Punch. So that was something I was thinking about as well, but he didn't bring grassy terrain, so Metagross is not going to be a response to Diggersby whatsoever. So there's that, but yeah, his team is kind of annoying, as I really do have to chip him down, especially the Conkeldurr, as that thing's kind of annoying for my team to chip down. I do have ways to deal with it. It's not like I'm just being caught off guard by him bringing it, but it just makes the game a little bit more frustrating because of how hard it is to take out Conkeldurr without losing Pokemon of my own. And everything on my team is so important in this matchup that I have to be very careful in how I play around it. But the rest of it, I guess, is not too surprising. Nihilego, not sure if I like that bring either, but I can see why he did it, as I originally wasn't going to bring Metagross, and if I didn't bring Metagross, Nihilego was an enormous threat, so it definitely could have been good against me, but obviously, because I have Metagross, I should be able to keep that in check pretty well as long as I don't lose my Metagross for some reason. But my offenses, like I was thinking, are looking really solid against him with Mega Lopunny and Nidoking putting in a lot of work, it sure looks like. And, you know, well, I guess we'll just see how that works out. But in terms of the lead matchup, my lead is always Latias in this matchup. I tried for a long time to lead with something like Mega Lopunny in my practice battles, but it never worked. So we're leading Latias, even though he doesn't have Victini, which was the reason why I felt Latias was my best lead against him. I still think it's good, because the worst he can do is lead Diggersby, in which case I switch into my Mandibuzz, and that also applies for Hydreigon as well. So let's go ahead and just start this off, and let's see if we can pull off our first win in NPL Season 6. So we lead off with our Latias, as he leads off with Mega Aggron. Now I am going to go ahead and switch out, expecting him to go for Stealth Rock or Thunder Wave, and I go hard into my Mandibuzz, as he actually goes for a Heavy Slam, which now he takes the damage from my Rocky Helmet, which is really nice, because after one more round of Rocky Helmet damage, he will be in range of my Nidoking's Earth Power if he is especially defensive Mega Aggron, so that's really fantastic, as I'm able to catch him going for Stealth Rock. As I go for Taunt, he goes for the second Heavy Slam. He's now in range of my Nidoking, which is fantastic, as now I'm going to go for the Roost and be back up to full health. Now here, I thought he was Choice Scarf, so I did just go ahead and click Roost just to see what he wanted to go for. Maybe he'd go for U-Turn and just take a bunch of damage from my Rocky Helmet, but he ends up being a Toxic variant, which is a little bit frustrating, as I let my Mandibuzz get Toxic without really getting anything in return, but not the end of the world, as Mandibuzz is good in this matchup, but I don't think it's essential necessarily as long as I play my offensive cards right. So here, I'm going to pause, as this actually really sucked for him. As I do, I go into my Electros on the Dark Pulse, knowing I take 0 from it, and I'll still be able to switch into Mega Aggron later on if need be, even if I take a Draco or something, as he does 28% with the Dark Pulse, then he does another 30% as I go for the Drain Punch and get a critical hit. Now this sucks for him quite a bit, because while he might have had Roost, I'm not sure if he had Roost, this puts him in range of my priority for Metagross and for Mega Lopunny, and that kind of sucks, because that means this thing is essentially useless now. It's even in range of Manibuzz's Brave Bird now, so this thing is not really effective against me anymore. It's probably going to become fodder at some point, because he is now weakened so far, and he's not even able to stay in and do damage to me, because I'll be able to essentially heal off all of that damage with another Drain Punch. So sorry about that, dude. Definitely don't like to see hacks happen, but we do take those. So now he's going to switch on out into his Conkeldurr. I did predict him to switch, but I wasn't manly enough to go for a Volt Switch, as if he goes into Diggersby, I'm in a pretty bad position, so I can't really afford to do that, and that's why Drain Punch was my play there. I do expect him to go for the knockoff of the Drain Punch, so I feel like now it's a pretty safe time to click Volt Switch and get a safe switch into my Mandibuzz. Now pause again. I could have gone to really any of my Mons here, but the only Mon that could do enough damage to this without getting O-Code was the Mandibuzz, so I do want to threaten him out with the Brave Bird, as now he's probably going to switch into his Mega Aggron, but I have no reason not to click it. I really lose nothing from doing so, as if he goes Mega Aggron, I can always just taunt it the next turn, and if he attacks me, he puts himself further into range, probably of my Mega Lopunny at that point as well. So I do go for Taunt as he tries to go for Stealth Rock. Now here, I believe I'm going to switch, because I'm taking too much damage from the Toxic, and go into my Electros, as he pulls a nice switch into his Nihilego. not sure what he was predicting there, but it does force me out. Maybe he was predicting the switch into Electros, and it does force me out as he reveals a second Stealth Rocker. So that kind of sucks, but this means that I'm just going to go ahead and put my own Stealth Rocks up. I'm not able to deter his, but at least I can keep the stage even with having rocks on both sides of the field. So now, expecting him to go for an Earthquake if he has it, I'm going to go into my Electros, and he does reveal the Earthquake, so that works out pretty well for me, as now I could go for Volt Switch. I really wanted to go for Volt Switch, but cannot give Diggersby a free switch in, so I'm going for the Flamethrower, and it does, about nothing to the Conkeldurr, as I'm going to go ahead and take this free slow Volt Switch out and go straight into my, I think, Nidoking, as he is now in range of a Poison Jab from this set, and he's going to be forced to sack. He does choose to sack his Hydreigon, and this is pretty nice, as now we're off to a good advantage. He doesn't have the Hydreigon anymore to put the pressure on me to keep my Mandibuzz, so now I can just use Mandibuzz as a switch into Diggersby or into Conkeldurr later on, as here, I will pause, as this is pivotal. So he goes into his Mega Aggron versus my Nidoking after I go for the Poison Jab, so I guess his thought process was that I was either fully physical or that I was choiced in some way, and he did reveal after the battle that he thought I was a choice Scarfed Nidoking, which I guess that's a reasonable assumption. I don't really think he should assume that whenever Nidoking can just straight Oko one of the most important members of his team, but it is what it is. He does lose his Mega Aggron here, and I think his alternative play would have been to go into the Melodic, which, if he had done that, I obviously would be clicking my Thunder Punch, and then Mega Lopunny is just looking really, really nice considering he did not bring the Bulu, and Mega Lopunny, and the Mega Aggron was essentially probably like 1 or 2 Stealth Rock turns away from being in range of my Jump Kick from Mega Lopunny. So I think I was in a good position regardless of if he made this erroneous play in the game, but it is what it is. We take out the Mega Aggron, and now we're in a pretty darn nice position. So let's go ahead and resume. So he goes into his Nihilego, and I don't know what its item is. I don't want it to get a kill though, because Beast Boost is scary, so I'm going to go into my Metagross, and he goes for the Psychic and does about 7, so yeah, he's not a boosting item, I can tell you that much, but the damage calc is saying he is max special attack, which is not really a surprise, but that's kind of hilarious how that did 0 to Metagross. But here, I'm going to make a somewhat aggressive play and double into my Latias. Now, I made this play because I did fully expect him to go into his Melodic, and now this allows me to get off a nice and free substitute just to see what he wants to go for. I'm kind of expecting a Toxic if he has it. He goes for the Recover. I guess scouting now to see what I wanted to go for, if I wanted to go for a Draco Meteor or something. But now, because I subbed up, I do expect him to try to attack me, or if he has Haze, probably go for it in case I have Calm Mind. He does go for Haze, so good prep on his part, but unfortunately for him, I am not a setup Latias, as I'm going to go for the Toxic and get that damage off on the Melodic, helping me further wear it down such that I can beat it with my other Mons, unless this can beat it 1v1 as is. And it turns out he has Ice Beam, and I click Toxic again to try to catch his switch into his Conkeldurr or his Diggersby, but seeing that his only way to really deal with this is to click Ice Beam, I'm just going to keep clicking Substitute and trying to recover up when he doesn't expect me to recover, such that I can just beat this thing 1v1 and maybe have a Substitute on his switch out into one of his other Mons, allowing me to get probably another kill. So this is looking pretty good for Latias to 1v1 this. I apologize, it's a little bit stally. That's the nature of the set I brought. It was the best set in this matchup. I'm fully confident in that, so sorry, not sorry, I guess, on that, but I'm going to go ahead and recover up here as he does just go for another Ice Beam. Fortunately, no freezes happen, and we are going to be able to take out the Melodic here in one more turn, as I could have gone for the Draco here, but if I go for the Draco Meteor to take this thing out, yes, I'm going to be at higher health, but if he is a Swords Dance Diggersby, that allows him to get off a very free Swords Dance versus my very weak Latias, and that's not something I can really afford to let happen. So here he does go into the Diggersby, and I'm going to pause, as this is his last chance to win the game. He has no other chance to win this game unless he is Swords Dance Diggersby here. I still have my better interest in mind in terms of trying to preserve differential. That's a thing. I need differential. This is a tough league. I'm going to need differential later on. I'm almost positive on that. I still have to make a play that prevents him from winning with Swords Dance Diggersby here. So I felt that my best play was to go hard into my Mandibuzz on this next turn, and that's because I am a Rocky Helmet set, meaning that he will at the very least take Rocky Helmet damage, and after Rocky Helmet damage, I am confident that he will be in range of my plethora of priority, even if he is a Swords Dance Diggersby. That said, as you'll see here, I'm going to go into my Mandibuzz, and he goes for Swords Dance. Okay, this is his chance to win. That's his play. Good for him. Now here, he could Swords Dance again. He turns out to be leftovers, so that's actually a little bit more threatening, because now I believe that Brave Bird from Mandibuzz probably does about 25% to this. It's a very weak Pokemon, but it still is a powerful move. So I think it'll do about 25% to this, which is essentially the same damage that the Rocky Helmet would do, and a combination of Fake Out plus Quick Attack on Mega Lopunny plus Sucker Punch on Nidoking, which is EV to outspeed all Diggersby that are not Choice Scarfed, plus Bullet Punch on Metagross should be able to take this thing out no matter what. So I'm not really concerned about losing to this at this point. It's just a matter of if he Swords Dances again, differential will decrease because I can only beat him with priority, as +4 Quick Attack does a ton of damage to my team. So if he Swords Dances again here, he definitely preserves some differential, but I don't really see myself losing the game at this point, as we'll just kind of see what happens here. So he does actually opt to go ahead and click Return instead of Swords Dance, so I guess a little misplay on his part, but not the end of the world, as it really only mattered in terms of, I think, 1 differential point, as now I'm going to be able to go into my Mega Lopunny and click Fake Out, as he has no switch-ins to this, obviously, and the Fake Out does indeed put him in range of Adamant Return. So now here I could click Quick Attack twice to just make sure he's in range of my other priority. That said, the only way he kills me is if he crits his own Quick Attack, so I'm willing to take the risk of a crit and go for the return here, because I do feel my other priority options and my Latias, which can take a +2 Quick Attack, would be able to beat him from that range. So now he goes into Conkeldurr. I'm going to go ahead and sack off my Electros, as it's my only way to get a safe switch into things that can beat this. I could go Latias here, I could go Nidoking here. Going Nidoking ensures that I get a kill though, so I'm going to go ahead and click Earth Power, which is guaranteed to take it out from this range. And now he's going to switch into his Nihilego. All I have to do is click Metagross and then click Bullet Punch, and this game is over. So the Toronto Staraptors have won our Week 1 matchup against the Vancouver Stealth Rocks and Carnie Hobo in a pretty decisive fashion, which is pretty cool for sure to get the season started off on the right note, as we've made a habit of winning Week 1, so I'm definitely excited to keep that going, as I believe the only Week 1 we've lost was my first season against Razors, so that was kind of unfortunate, but hey, we won this one, and we're off to a good start. So next week we have a game against Mr. Murkrow and his San Francisco Reggie Giants, so we get to face off against the GPC champion, and I'm pretty excited for that, as he is a solid player. I enjoy watching his content, and it's going to be a really good match, as I feel we're pretty evenly matched. The team matchup is pretty volatile, like a lot of team matchups seem to be, as it'll be pretty fun for sure. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you did enjoy, and I will see you all in Week 2. Peace.